Yeah, right.
All right, and sorry about the delay. Welcome to episode 22 of the Clutch Kick. Had some technical issues of trying to get the stream going for some reason. So this Greg's still freezing, it seems. Ken's from Western Australia. He's actually no. What we'll do is we'll talk to Ken a bit later. We'll just go through some news first.
I just don't want to talk to him.
No, we'll start off with the news, and that way we'll sort of have a segment, and we won't get distracted, and we'll just go through it. And then that way, if the conversation can go somewhere, we don't sort of have to stop it and then start the news again, or start the news.
Yes.
So
we're almost pros at this, mate.
Okay. All right. So Greg's going to talk through some news.
I guess the only news I know of, considering I was under a rock for most of the weekend, was Drift Masters. Well, the first Drift Masters ever took place up at Queensland Raceway. From my understanding, it was more of a driver search type event for the Pro-Am guys, and it was taken out by Stephen Brugmans. He drove a Crusader with a 1J, is my understanding, and he drove it to the track. I suppose he drove solid all day. 350Zs, fully funded drive for World Time Attack Challenge, and the three runners up for that who got to battle out in the against some pro guys to try and win that drive were all Queensland locals as well. A couple of Sydney guys were in 6th and 7th. Good mate of mine, Logan Waterhouse, 100 horsepower Logan, was in his Datto 120Y and ended up in 6th, which is pretty good for him. That's the first time I think he's been on a track that big rather than doing just Archie Rally or Figure 8. So good driving from him. And then Pro was taken out by none other than Bo Yates. No real surprise there. And then two locals, Michael Rosenblatt and Levi Clark in 2nd and 3rd. So just waiting for some more media to come out from that. The guys from Drift Masters did put out that they were going to do more of an event wrap style video that was going to be coming out. So we're just waiting to see that and get some more in-depth info on the event itself. But definitely seemed cool. From my understanding, I had a couple of mates up there, one who broke super early. I think he made it through the first corner and then the car started popping out of gear. So he was out with a lot of the other Pro-Am guys early, and he said event ran pretty well. A few little teething issues here and there, but that's not unexpected with the format that they ran, considering they haven't run anything like that before. And then, yeah, it was good to see some more pro guys out there, but again, few mechanical dramas it seemed, but that's to be expected with 800 horsepower to 1,000 horsepower monsters, I guess. Did you catch any other events over the weekend? I think it was just D1 lights and a few other things happening around the planet, but nothing too big, was there?
There was a couple of things around the planet, I guess, but there was D1 lights at Mahon, which is probably a good segue because Ken recently went there and drove at that track. If people remember, one of the people from Origin Labo, Mick, what's her name? I can't actually remember her name. Yeah, so she won the event at D1 Lights. So she came over a couple of times to Queensland to do some to do DCA as well as some drift school stuff up there. And I guess that was it. There were some other sort of events as well that I saw some live streams, but I didn't end up watching. So anyway, I think that's it for the news. So you don't have anything else?
Nah. Did you get car fixed? Did you
you're out? And that's all I did. And then I decided it was too cold to do anything else.
Welcome to living in Canberra.
Yeah. Okay. Well, without further ado, we'll have our chat with Ken. So Ken is from Western Australia. I first met him in Japan at Ebisu, and he was driving amazingly well. I actually heard about him on the internet. So what I heard was this really sort of hotshot guy in West Australia, and he had in an 8.6. Remember when you used to have? Do you still have that 8.6?
I still have it. Yeah, it's just sitting there at the moment.
So there's this 8.6, all these videos popping up, and it's just like, wow, you should check out this guy. He's really cool. He's a really cool driver too. And then I just watched the videos, and you're doing a lot of pretty crazy things that I wasn't really game to do at the time. And you had big aspirations, had big plans. I think you wanted to. What I was told, which I don't know if it's true because I never actually talked to you about this, that you wanted to eventually. Well, no, this is all like there was a lot of gossip about Ken, like even before I met him. So when I met him, I already felt like I knew like bits about him because there's so much hype around him.
Shit, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that anyone knew about me over East.
Yeah. So anyway, there was that. I met you at Japan, and then I don't think I've actually met you any other time in Australia.
Nah, it's pretty much been every Ebisu trip.
Yeah. So
your pink 180.
Yeah. Well, that's
still have that.
Yeah, I still have that. It's a little bit beat up, just by some things, just drift reasons.
Ebisu things.
Yeah. Besides seeing Ebisu, I haven't really seen or heard much about you except on social media. You started drift school, and then I saw some of the events that you're running on what looks like a training area or something, where you had a couple of comps there as well.
Oh yeah, so we got two clubs here. So D1WA run a club and they do competitions on the infield, and we got Drift West as well, which is on the main track.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't run the comps. I used to be on the committee for D1WA. So I'm not doing that because of drift school pretty much. So now I just focus on drift school most of the time.
Okay. Cool. So I guess to begin with, what are you up to these days? Because I don't really know. Besides, because you kind of that sort of.
At the moment, we're building I'm building an S13, which is like I've been driving the 32 for like the last 3 years. That's 26. Yeah, about 3 years. You would have seen it's the one on the picture, that pink one.
Yep.
The Drift School R32. So I've been driving that. That one's got an RB25. Very basic TD06. And then now I'm just building an S13 with an SR20. It's just I think it's a bit more fun to drive an SR. Got bored of the RB25.
Okay.
SRs.
Not a fan of SRs, Greg?
No, I have lots of SRs.
Okay.
But I have lots of broken SRs.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject at the moment.
I'm keeping the 32 would just be kept for doing passenger rides at drift school, and I'm going to change this S13 into the actual driving car again.
So you own and run drift school? Is that what it's called?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we started doing that in 2016 January. Started off with like one S13.
Yep.
And I was instructing, so I was the only instructor. And then since that time, we've expanded into more cars and more staff. So until what we are today. So it's like service about 100 customers each time we do drift school.
Wow.
So it's changed a lot from like the first day.
What made you
quite a journey?
What made you feel like you needed to, or what made you feel like starting a drift school? Like, do you think it was needed, or is there something that you did so it actually coincides with your passion?
Yeah, probably a mix of everything. Like, I didn't want to keep working for someone. I'm just sick. I didn't want to do like 9 to 5 hours, or because before that I was selling cars. So that was like really long hours. Yeah, so that was like Monday to Friday is 8 till 6, Wednesdays 8 till 9, and then Saturday 8 till 1. So, you know, you only get like really the Saturday night and the Sunday time off. Money is good, but you know, just no time to do anything really. So after about 2.5 years of that, decided, what can I do with my life? I'll just we'll think of some business to do. And I was like, well, it makes sense. I like drifting. I might as well do something drifting related, right?
That's pretty cool. I don't think there's not many opportunities to do that sort of stuff where I am in Canberra, because we don't have a racetrack, and our training facility doesn't like anyone losing traction, so we get kicked out of the facility if we lose traction. So
yeah, we did have a few venues that are like that here. Like one that just got shut down a while, maybe 2 years ago. It's like a track at the airport, and that was called like RAC Driving Centre, and they didn't like any skids at all, even though they had skid pads. Like, can do some cheeky ones, but pretty much can't. It's just like driver training area. You can't actually do anything that cool. But it was a good place for people to go and take their car, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a shame. So, about... where should we go? Have you been back to... Yep.
I was going to ask you a little bit more drift training at Barbagallo, or you just rent out that part of the of the circuit?
It's a pure renting thing. There's no contractual agreement. Well, there is a contract, but it's nothing that like we have exclusive rights to do anything like that at all.
Yeah.
So, essentially, you just hire it and off you go.
Okay. Yeah, and so both EG and I have driven passenger rides at Drift School Australia over here in Sydney. Are you guys running a sort of similar layout to them? They've sort of got a section of the area that they do it with, where guys are jumping into cars, learning donuts, linking some drifts and all that, and then another half that is passenger rides. Are you doing something similar to that, where you're giving people a hands-on experience?
We have a couple of different programs. So we do, like, the most popular one is like Intro to Drifting. So that's our Drift Express. So we do that, and that's like just for people that have never actually been sideways before or done any sort of drifting. You know, it gives them like a little bit of a good idea of what it's like. You know, just our world of drifting. You know, you want to kind of get the general public to just have a better understanding of it, because if you just ask any guy off the street, like, what do you think drifting is? You just get all sorts of answers, or usually they'll just say it's a Tokyo Drift or something, you know. So trying to like get them to see a more realistic form of drifting, so they get to come in, they get to drive a car, and then they also get to see how it's done by someone that's a lot more experienced. Then going on from there, we have more programs that you can drive more, or if you really want to get serious, we do the one-on-one coaching as well. So yeah, that's pretty. We just try and do everything, and then there's the passenger hot laps as well.
Is that all in your cars, or eventually do you guys offer training on some of your days in guys' own cars?
Yeah, so mainly it's in our cars. So we provide all the cars, and we do have other programs where people can bring their own if they already have one, and with the one-on-ones as well. It's either use our car, or if you've got one already, we can do that as well.
Yeah. And have you found that over the, I guess, the year and a half that you've been, two and a half years you've been running?
2016 January, yeah.
2.5 years. I'm white and trying to do maths. It's a problem. Have you found that over the time that you've grown in numbers, sort of tapered in numbers? Is it always
making sure that it reaches the target audience that I want? Aiming for the general public, because what you want to do is bring more people into the scene, and that's also the reason why I started Drift School as well, because if you think about it, trying to get in a drift, if you're someone that is interested in it, the only way for you to really try it, if there is no school, is to buy a car, and that usually costs like, I don't know, maybe $5,000 for an average drift car, R33 or S13. Then after that, you got to go buy your license and CAM's license or races or AASA. Then your membership to your local drift car club, and then you got to pay for the practice. By the time you've done all that, it's $7,000 and you haven't even really actually tried it yet. So,
and you've got no idea how to do it.
yeah, exactly. So you can also spend thousands of dollars extra on doing all these practices, and you're doing it the wrong way, and then that habit becomes hard to change later on. So I think that's why it's beneficial to have a school where people can, like, obviously drifting's not cheap and running a school is not cheap, but you know, at least people have an option to give it a go and see whether they actually even like it, or maybe if they're even good at it at all. But everyone can be taught.
And how often are you running?
At the moment, we're like once or twice per month, like big days.
Yeah, okay.
And then amongst that time, we have the one-on-one sessions during the week as well.
Okay, nice. I was going to ask something else, but then I forgot. Have you seen a transition from guys who have come from your school, say, from 2.5 years ago through to competing in things like Drift Outlaws this year?
Yeah, so we've always expanded our staff, like our staff team. Like I always try and help out some of the guys, or like even customers that have come through. Like when I first started, we've had some people come through, and you know, now they've progressed into getting their own car, and now you see them at drift events. So there is like there are a lot of people that I've seen through that whole time that have progressed quite rapidly, and even some of them have become staff members themselves.
Yeah, nice. Anything else on that one, EG? Anything else you want to plug about the school? Anything you want to share? What sort of price? What sort of prices are you looking at for an average? Say what's your price on a beginner day? What's your price on the most advanced course that you offer? And then what's the sort of prices you offer on the one-on-ones?
The most popular one is the intro to drift, so that's $199. Then you can go all the way up to 2,000 because you know, doing one-on-ones, that means you got the whole track to yourself. It's 3 hours of track time with just you and an instructor. So it is expensive, but if you're really serious, I think that's really the way to go. You know, that you can't beat the track time. Like there's not really anywhere else that you can go that you can just go, I want 3 hours with, so just like a drift personal trainer, really.
Is the one-on-one, would you do it in your car or their car? Is that sort of cost?
It depends, yes. Yeah, so 2,000 is like with our car, and if they're using theirs, it's like 1,200.
Yeah, okay, nice. So if anybody wanted in the country who's listening decided, hey, I don't have a car currently and I just want to go, you know, do a little bit more training, or my car's pretty basic and I, you know, want some proper one-on-one time, because even I know the drift school we have in Sydney is pretty limited to what they're allowed to run under the regs in the area that they run. So it's really not a bad price to almost fly over to WA and then jump in a car for a few hours. So
yeah, that's it. And like I said, it's a really, I believe it's a big upfront cost, but you know, that's just what we have to do to get that track, you know.
Yeah, it's a big upfront cost, but I think with how focused it would be, I think you would more than get your money's worth for the lack of stress with dealing with a car and all the prep and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, also, like it's so good to be, you know, like EG would know as well, like going to Ibiza, you know, like it's if you have an environment where there's not other cars running around you, or there's not cars like coming up behind you quicker, you know, there's just that no stress. You're just in a complete environment where you can really focus on your learning and getting better. So you don't have to worry about spinning out or anything like that. So I think that's really useful if you're serious about drifting.
And they can contact, if people who have listened to this decide that the drift school is something they're interested in, just contact you guys directly through Facebook
Facebook is fine, or driftschoolwa.com. Like all our bookings are done online, or you can message as well, and we can help you through emails or Facebook as well.
All right, EG, go for it, mate.
I say, you kept covering the questions I kept thinking about, and then now I'm out. Have you thought about coming and do trips to this side of Australia? Because I know some of the drift schools here have sort of started to spread out as well.
Not really, man, because I feel like Perth, we can't need this, and I think there's enough people here that I can work on just doing drift school here.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, but like I'm more focused on building it here and helping everyone here rather than spreading myself a bit too thin everywhere else. I'm sure each state has got people capable of doing it as well. I'm not really there to sort of step on anyone's toes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't really spend much time in Adelaide, but I don't know if there's anything there. That's what I was just thinking.
I think it's only. I'm pretty sure it's only Adelaide and obviously Northern Territory that don't have one.
Yeah, and that's kind of close. Well, no, it's not really that close. It's pretty far away. Perth is far from everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, we are far from everything, so that's why coming to any of the events is pretty much impossible because it's like pretty much got to take 2 weeks off if you're going to drive there anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not keen on the long drives.
Yeah. So where do you see? Are you have you got future plans to do anything else, or just sort of keep maintaining like maybe?
I'd like to keep doing this as long as I can because I love it, and I can't complain. Like it's drifting at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people will think that like it's such a it is a dream job, but like a lot of people will think that it's just paradise every day. It's just drifting every day, but
yeah,
honestly, it's mainly emails and phone calls and usual business day that we're doing, or we got like 8 cars to prepare. There's always something to do, so there's a lot of maintenance and just usual business stuff.
Okay.
And also all the advertising as well. All that sort of shit.
Okay. What sort of crowd do you normally get? Like, is it just general people just trying to give it a go, or is it
it's like really just people that just got their license. We'll have people even over 50 that are just like a little bit of a rev head. All sorts of people. We have men, women, everything. So it's I can't really narrow it down to exactly like one target.
Yeah. So yeah, you pretty much anyone can turn up and then they can do the score. There's not really any sort of limitations, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't have to be into cars to enjoy it. Like, pretty sure you put anyone from the street into a car and take them drifting, it's very unlikely that they're not going to have fun, right? So
yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do as well, is that the general public can come in and experience drifting, and it's just the same as going on to a roller coaster or a hot air balloon ride or skydiving. It's just it's a thrill. You get to sit in a car that's going fast. You don't know what's going on. You get to drive it yourself. So trying to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be fun. So yeah, I was initially you sent me a message a long time ago when I did an episode. Sorry, we did an episode where I talked about what is drifting, and then you pretty much messaged me straight after it finished, or like after it was posted, and then you you want to come on and have a chat about it, so have some input. Actually, a few people messaged as well then. So did you want to sort of touch on that subject? Like, have your idea of
what is drifting?
Yeah.
I can't. Now that you ask me, though, I can't really say because I'm sure you've covered like quite a bit on that topic.
This will be your. So it's not like what I said is the one true way. It's what you believe is drifting, or how you describe it, or what you enjoy, what you like seeing, things like that.
I think my opinion on what real drifting is probably quite close to what you reckon, EG, because I think I've heard a few of your other ones, and it's like, to me, Japanese style is always going to be the one that excites me.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of things, like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I find that, like, even if I'm playing video games or whatever, or if you're watching something, I always find whatever the hardest thing to do ends up being the most entertaining to me. So in the form of drifting, I find that it's hard to snap your car. It's hard to get big angle. it's hard to come in really fast and have full commitment into a corner without, you know, any sort of like arse dragging and all that. And I think people that can pull that off is the most entertaining because, you know, they're close to death and like everything is like it's the fastest, it's the hardest snap, like everything is the hardest. I think whatever is just the hardest is what I think. You know, that's why you like whoever's closer to the wall or all that sort of stuff. Like I think that's what excites me.
Okay.
You know, like hovering next to.
I remember the time when we were at school course at Ebisu and you were consistently doing it in your yellow Saphiro. And that was
Yeah,
awesome.
That was a fun time, hey.
Yeah.
That was like that Matsuri was just like school course Matsuri.
Yeah.
Like doing reverse and stuff.
And I was just
Wasn't
sitting
that
there
like
taking
all of
photos.
us and all the Tassie guys as well? Was that trip?
Yeah, I can't remember actually. I know there was like 2 big groups there.
Yeah, it was like WA boys with Tassie and you guys as well. And I think we were knocking bottles out of school course wall and high-fiving. That was before the fence was up.
That's right, yeah.
And you can go and do dumb shit like that, and not possible now.
Yeah,
I think that was also the one. I think that was also the trip that we, at night time on like the Saturday night at Matsuri, it was you as well. You were doing burnouts, and we did the firework on the helmet.
Yeah, around Toge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
That was loose.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I thought he was meant to strip down naked. I thought that was what someone said. So, but that didn't happen.
That one was like proper Aussie bogan night.
Yeah, that was fun.
Ruining Ebisu for everybody else, mate.
I think it'll fit.
But at the end of the day, let's just blame EG for anything bad that happens.
Yeah. Oh, that'll do. He's Japanese, so he's the one that's leading us gaijins around Ebisu doing bad things.
He's the leader of the world drift community, so he's leading everybody to do bad things.
I don't want to see a world like that. Actually, it's much better and entertaining when there's a lot of different people involved, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, then you're just upset because everybody ended up in Buddy Canberra tearing up your street lamp inspection spot.
No, it's fine. No, I think that'd be fun. It'll actually make people better drivers. I think we had a very talented driver come down once, and he went through that spot very, very quickly, and then it's always been a goal to try and at least replicate that or exceed it. So
that seems.
The whole time looking at Greg, he's just frozen.
Yeah, I know. His facial expressions are.
He's actually just a robot.
I'm a cyborg created by EG.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you would expand more about drifting, because I remember you sending me a few messages about making the show live and trying to put comments in just so you can add bits and pieces to it.
Yeah. You're gonna have to help prompt me, man, because I can't actually think of like you say something and it triggers something, then man, you'll get a massive rant out of me. So,
okay. All right,
keep trying.
We'll just keep chatting. That's all right. It's all good. I'm not very good at this either, but Greg's the journalist and the entertainer. So,
well, I want to know from EG what was the hype that got you to hear about him in the first place? You said there was hype, but I want to know what the hype was.
So, there are some videos online of Ken doing some inspections. Was one of those. So he's in a particular area, and maybe the lights weren't even on at the time. But it was doing inspections. But yeah, the other thing is like people were saying like this guy's crazy, like he's so good at this at drifting, and then the other rumor that was being told was he's aiming to become the best in Australia, and then eventually move to a different country and take out some sort of international competition. So is that rumor true, or is that?
Well, not really. No.
No.
I never really set out to be the best in Australia. I always just wanted to do my own, my thing, like drive Japanese style. And I did want to win something over in Japan.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time at Ebisu trying to do that. So I guess that worked out, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, and I find that that's the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
About making any sort of interstate competitions or heading international, because I just can't keep up with the costs. Like drifting, and I'm stingy as well. Like I don't use fuck all tires, man. Like I'll be on the same pair the whole day, and like I won't blaze it after the main entry. Like all I'll do is just grip the rest and just chill, have a bit of a nap as I go around the track, and then come back round. And I just want to do the entry. So, again, it comes down to like what I find is hard, right? So in the entry, I find is the hardest part, and it is definitely the case for tracks like Meihan and Ebisu and anywhere. But like after you've gone past that entry point, the rest is just like you should be able to keep your car sideways.
Yeah.
Like that shit's kind of like autopilot. You should be able to do it, right?
Yeah. One thing, because Greg's looking at making some changes with his car and deciding what sort of power he should reach for. And one of the things that I tell Greg is try and set a power where you can keep your foot flat, and it's probably, if you lift a little bit, then that's the point where it's probably the right amount of power. So you should be able to keep your foot flat, but if it scares you a little bit enough so you have to lift, then that's the thing that you need to attain for. You shouldn't need any more power because you're just going to get lazy. So if you have, I don't know, 700 horsepower, then you're just going to be lazy and sort of dawdle up to the entry and just sort of put your foot down.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you have any more power than that and it's pinging off limiter, which is what you see in a lot of videos, actually pushing forward anymore. So what you want, how EG just explained it, is you're always on that point where the torque, this is how I feel anyway, and this is like how it works in my head, that if you describe it the way EG is, then the torque is still increasing at that range. Is that how you're going, EG?
Yeah.
So that's...
it's enough.
It's like it's still gripping. Yeah. But if you lift off, that's like it will pretty much straighten up. So you're just trying to find that little sweet spot where the drivability is still good in that range, and that if you lift off too much, then it straightens up. Yeah. But that's when you're going fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep your foot flat.
Yeah, like if you can keep your foot flat and it doesn't ping limiter, then I feel like that's the sweet spot.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, getting back to... Oh, actually, no, you did talk about Meihan. So you were over there recently. I've been to that track. I've ridden as a passenger, but what's it like driving it? Because it's very... To me, well, the driver that I was with was very competent, so I didn't have any sort of worries at all, but... there's a lot of walls, and in Japan it's typically not much runoff. So how did you find the track?
The track, you know how like when you go to a different track in the world and you watch it on videos, heaps. You find that it's like a lot thinner than what you thought it was in the video, and I find Meihan to be the worst culprit for that. Like you watch the videos and you see that it's that usual view because that's where the spectator stand is.
Yeah.
And so you think like, oh, look, that's actually like pretty wide, and when they feint and all that and slide next to the wall, it looks like there's a lot of room. When you go there, it's completely different. It's like the thinnest little go-kart track. Everything seems really quite daunting. It's actually quite scary. And then once you get into it, like a couple of laps, that's when you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And just you just start working it. further and further.
How did you?
But it's.
Yep.
Oh, keep going. Yeah. What
Yeah.
were you gonna
No,
say?
you keep going. It's all right.
Oh, I've forgotten now. It's okay.
I forgot. Sorry. How did you get that opportunity of getting a drive on the track? Was it something prearranged, or did you just rock?
Yeah.
Up?
So. Yeah. No. It's like. Well, it actually started like long time ago. I went the first trip that I went to Japan ever was in 2008, and I drifted a A86 with at Meihan. So that was my first ever trip.
Oh, okay.
To Japan. So I had Jesse Streeter help me back then. He got me a car, or I went with a group of 2 other friends, and we bought an A86. At the time, probably should have just gotten an S13, but like at the time, because I was just like driving A86s only, and all of us were kind of like 86 drivers, so just thought we'd get an 86. And I think at that time they were cheaper than S13s, but like now S13s are just ridiculous in price over there. Like you can't even, it's so hard to find one, and if you do find one, even though it's a bucket of shit, it will still cost like at least 5.
Yep.
And that would be like not a good car. But anyway, yeah, we drove an 86 there, and that was like, there will be there's a video on YouTube for that, but that was difficult, but it was still fun. We still had a really great time because it was the first time that you drove in a place where there was like real consequences. Like here, when we drive you drive locally, and if you fuck up, you're just going into the sand. It's not really that bad. Like it's pretty hard to ram yourself into a wall.
Yep.
But Meihan is just a different thing, you know. It's like every single run is like you could die, unless you just unless you're going like super slow. But if you're actually trying to like hit the line and drive it how it's supposed to be driven, like every run should be like you're almost dying. So yeah, I did that, and then after that I started doing Ebisu because it was just so convenient as a gaijin to be doing drift holidays.
Yeah.
And it's like thanks to Power Vehicles as well. It's just so good with them there that people can go there and actually do, drift for like 9 to 5 every day.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, but like after 4 years of Ebisu, I just thought like I enjoyed, and it's also like how you asked before about like what excites me in drifting. That's what I find is super exciting. So that's what I practice all the time. That's what I want to do, and I think. Those sort of trends for flicks and whatnot come from Meihan. Like you can't do it unless you actually snap it, or like you won't get the right line if you don't do all those sort of things.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm starting to go back there again now.
Okay.
It's a lot harder than Ebisu, but that's what you got to do it. Do what you love, I suppose.
Okay. So.
Did you drive Meihan with no helmet on?
Yeah, on that time that I went in 2008, we didn't have to have a helmet, so that was that's interesting.
Yeah, Jesus, I just pulled up the video, and I want to see that hairstyle from 10 years ago come back, and
a little patch of bleached hair.
Yeah, Jesus, that's definitely 2008, early 2000s, and yeah, Jesus Christ, hitting that track with no helmet.
Yeah, I think if I was given that option now, I'd still definitely wear a helmet.
Yeah, I would say you've either got not much between the ears, but with the drift school that you've set up, I would say there's plenty between your ears, so you must have a big set of nuts.
Yeah, I have to lead by example as well, so. But yeah, like this, I think it's also because back then it wasn't as wild. Like 2008. People were still flicking it, but they were like, it was more of like wall rides rather than actual. Because on Meihan, if you look at it, there's the wall that you slide next to, so that's the one where everyone wall rides. But the real issue with that track, or the real death section, is the wall that you're going straight at. And 2008, people were more on the wall ride and just hitting the concrete on the floor because it goes tarmac, and then there's like this concrete ridge section, and so people were just kind of aiming their rear wheels to get on the concrete rather than flying at that wall that's there now with the tires. So that's what's changed now. People are trying to get as close to that wall and blast away from it. So that's where it gets really exciting.
Yeah. Shit.
So I guess that's why I would wear a helmet these days, because
You've got a little bit harder.
yeah, especially because that was an 86. That was a stock 4AG with no cams, nothing, like legit stock big port, like some super hard springs in the bag, TRD shocks, two-way. But there was just something about it that was like particularly hard to drive. I think it was just like really low on power, because the lower the tires got, the better it was to drift. And you can actually see it in that video. I remember it, that you like at the end of that, you just start munging the whole track, because it's just, I don't know, it was actually sliding without effort.
Okay, so this most recent trip, did you buy a car, another car? Did you rent, borrow?
It's
steal?
actually my steal. Did you say steal?
Yeah.
It's actually my car from my S14 from Mebisus.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so 4 years. I went there for 4 years, and at the end of that, May 2016, possibly, or maybe before that, I can't remember. Maybe even 2015. I think it's 2016. May somewhere around May 2016. I think me and my mate Scotty, that was our last trip there, and after that we sort of like packed everything up. Kind of went back there just to pack everything up, because I had like some shit still inside the car, or I just wanted to clean some shit up.
Yeah.
So yeah, packed it up, put everything away, parked it away, and I had the intention of selling it. Then I put it up for sale, and then someone locally here bought it from me.
Yep.
And he owned it for pretty much 2 years, until that trip that I just went like two months ago. He pretty much owned it that whole time. After he bought it from me, he did transfer power vehicles and all that, and then he never went. So the car just sat there like a time capsule since the last time I've been there.
Yeah.
So Shane from Stacked, I think people will probably be quite familiar with that. Shane Bingham.
Yep.
He helped. Last year I also went with a couple of friends to Mayhan, and he bought a car from him. And he's been like super helpful the whole time, like trying to getting us to Mayhan and making it all happen. But yeah, him and Naoki were at, I think it was a King of Nations round. So he picked the car up for me, because I bought it back off my mate, the one that bought it off me. I told Emily, I said, I'm buying it back, and Shane's taking the car. Then I paid my storage to Emily again, or power vehicles. And then Shane put it on the truck, took it back to Osaka. And that's where I was 2 months ago. Got the car, and it was exactly how I left it. And had to do a full like rework on it, because it really wasn't that great. Didn't like the knuckle set. Yeah, the knuckle setup. It still looks like a missile. Yeah. But the maintenance stuff, like cleaning it up, making it look a bit nicer. Because before I stopped going there, that was before the time before they brought in that rule that all bumpers had to be on, or has to have lights, and it can't be a missile. So like, it was never really much reason to clean it up and put a kit on there or whatever.
Yeah.
So I never did it, and it just looks like a piece of shit. But all the internals are really good. Which is why I bought it back, because I knew what the I knew what the issues were. I knew the motor was good, and I knew most of the things were okay. I didn't have to buy another car in the Osaka area and possibly deal with some more shit to deal with. So when I brought it back, I just had to do a full suspension change. Just get it to Mayhan spec.
Okay. So you still own that? That's still living in Japan at the moment?
Yep. Yeah, so it's off. It's still just stored there at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. I was just wondering how you got, because there's some guys over there that have been advertising about hiring cars for Mayhan. I'm just wondering if you're using one of those cars.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's called West Japan.
Yeah.
Something like that. Some West Japan Hire or West Japan Drift or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I didn't actually meet those guys, but it seems pretty cool what they're doing, because that whole like Osaka, Kansai area, I find is just so much harder to make a drifting holiday out of because, obviously you get to go there and it's, you're there, you stay near the track, so you don't have to drive that far. And every day you just wake up and you just go drift for the whole day and then you come back to your hotel or wherever you're staying and it's just easy. But, a lot of tracks in the Osaka area aren't open all the time. So you have to look through Drift Tengoku and actually find out when the track days are and everything's like a long drive as well. Like Meihan was at least an hour drive away. And then if you wanted to go to Bihoku, then it's 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And it's not like the car's there for you like it is at Ebbie. So, you just park it up and then go to sleep. But every time you want to do some sort of drifting thing, you have to go get a truck, hire a truck. So go pick up the truck, bring it back, put the car in the truck, take it to the track, have your track day, come back, unload the car, take the truck back. It's just like all these extra things that you need to do that I find was just so much harder than Ebisu.
Yeah. Yeah, and also even if you hire a truck, it's really there's not much space in Japan either. So trying to find accommodation where you can actually keep a truck is difficult.
Yeah, that's it. So I was lucky with Shane helping me. Like that's why I actually couldn't even keep it. You just use it, hire it the night before, park it somewhere. But you couldn't bring it to where you were staying. Like I was staying in an Airbnb, and now I couldn't just bring it out there because you can barely park a K car there. So
yeah, so it's a lot of work. It's not that easy to move a car around.
Yeah, and it costs like shitloads more because more fuel and more tolls. Tolls fucking piss me off. There's just so many. Oh, bye, Greg.
Yeah, what the hell happened there? I don't know where I went. I don't even know where my Skype went. I'm still talking though.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm back. Still here.
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like tolls every day. Tolls add up. The truck costs add up, and then your food and entry into the track. It's just, it's difficult.
But you'd go back again, won't you?
Yes, I would definitely go back again. But like, if it was for 95% of the time, I'd still recommend going to Ebisu for your drift holiday because it's just so much easier.
Yeah.
Ebisu just went. Ebisu is just like you can do most of the drifting that you want to do there, but like I find that for me, after 4 years, it doesn't really have any tracks that require for you to force an initiation, except maybe Nishi Long.
Yeah.
Because everything's generally like a roll-in entry. It's assisted. So like if you think about Minami,
yeah,
you're not really. It's kind of like it kind of rolls you over the jump. You don't really have to like flick it or anything. Same with North Course. That's like it just starts curving and then you like mungie the straight, or you do a very mini sort of mungie next to the cliff wall.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, people. Yep. It seems like there's two different styles at North Course. Like they do the mungie like, seems to be popular.
Tag the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other ones like they come in and they sort of they cut the last corner before the straight to try and get more speed, and then they'll do like a quick feint.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a tough one because you kind of have to like force it, don't you? Like you have to force it to not slide that straight section. Like it almost ends up being faster to just slide that back corner onto the straight and then get near the wall on the right, like the cliff wall, and just do a little wiggle rather than trying to straighten up.
Yeah. Yeah, usually I'm still scared, so I lift off a little bit. So, yeah. I either use
you got too much power then, mate. You got too much power if you're scared, mate.
I explained this to you before in an earlier episode. That's how I could tell that the car was fast enough for me with 300 horsepower.
But yeah, you know what I mean, right? Like with the Ebisu, it's just like everything is it's not like Meihan, like Meihan is like you come onto the straight and you have to force that in. You have to force that entry. Like you really need to move the car. So I find the only track that does that is Nishi Long. But And other than Matsuris, you don't really get to drive that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think how it works.
Thinking about all the tracks.
Yeah, and Nishilong too. I don't know how because usually I just come straight in. But anyway, that's all right. It's fine. You've been a bit quiet there, Greg.
Oh, I'm just listening. Does your layout that you set up on your private days in WA force initiation? I feel like I should just pay the money to come over and do one-on-one with you and actually get some seat time. It probably cost me about the same amount as traveling the country with my broken ass piece of shit's costing me. At least I'll shop, and when the card doesn't work, I can blame somebody else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we definitely, like when we do the hot laps at drift school, that's definitely what we do, is make it at a very exciting entry.
Maybe the next time over in WA, I have to hit up a drift school.
Have you been to WA?
Yeah, I've been 3-4 times.
Yeah.
All for other things, but
yeah.
I haven't been.
That's sus.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
No,
I'm not sure how many Asians are over there.
Well, Perth.
Yeah.
Not as many as Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah, definitely not.
When I went to Sydney, there was more bubble tea places than McDonald's.
Oh shit! Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's all right. My council chambers close by have the South Korean flag in the council chambers.
What's that?
The council chambers for my local area have the South Korean flag inside the chambers because of our heavy Korean population in the area.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Make them feel a little bit more at home.
Oh, I think we're the outsiders in their area.
Okay. Well, like the craziest thing, we were talking about Asians. When I went to Melbourne, there's a town called Springvale, I think, or Spring something, but it's literally Vietnam. Like everything in there is Vietnamese. Like even the signs on businesses are Vietnamese. The school is Vietnamese. There is like Vietnamese restaurants everywhere.
See, people talk about a place like that in Queensland called Sunnybank, and I like a page like it's like Humans of Sunnybank where it's just like it's meant to be filled with all Asians. I'm pretty sure that's next to Archerfield.
Yeah, it's literally just down the road, but I don't think it's as bad as what. Yeah, I think for Queenslanders, I think for Queenslanders, like they see like you two guys walk down the street and they're like, oh my god, like that's so look at those brothers. There's so many of them. Where
Look at those brothers.
in Sydney or Melbourne, it's just like, yeah, so what? Like, that's normal. But over in WA, I found that there was a lot more Indigenous Australians than what we get over on this side of Australia. Down at Freo and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Definitely a cultural experience to go over to WA. Yeah. You don't know Australia until you go to Western Australia.
I think that's the only state I haven't been to. I've been everywhere else.
Oh, do you know what else is weird? Where there's like the two nightclub areas,
Northbridge and Freo.
And you can carry drinks down the street.
Oh, I've never tried that, but I don't think you can.
When I was over there 4 years ago, they were checking people's bottles. Bouncers were checking people's bottles and letting them into places as long as there was nothing in there. I'm pretty sure checking checking for drugs and stuff.
Maybe you had too many drinks because I don't think I've never had that. Like, I don't think that's a rule.
No, it was just up from. It was just up from where the arena where they play the tennis and do all that sort of stuff is. I don't know what that area is.
Crown, like the Burstwood, like Crown Casino.
No, the big blue building.
Oh, Perth Arena. So in the city.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There's a strip of clubs just up from there, and yeah, people were just walking up and down the street with alcohol. I was like, this is fucking mad.
Your
I don't know.
adventure in Perth sounds fucking sick.
Yeah, it was cool. That's my first as an adult.
Strippers and drinks in the street.
Yeah, I don't know.
Watching tennis.
No, I wasn't. I was the entertainment for that weekend. So, yeah.
Right. I've legit. I don't think that's. Yeah, I've never.
You need to go. You clearly don't venture up there. You're too busy running your school, mate.
I'll give it a go this weekend.
Do it, and we go. All I'm gonna get is a message abusing me because you got fucking arrested.
Yeah, I just like carry a carton along the street and Greg told me it was cool.
Yeah, some dickhead from Sydney is like, yeah.
He's a guy from Canberra and he said it was fine for me to drink in the street.
No, I'm in Sydney. EG's in Canberra.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I don't know where we're going with this, but
No, that's all right. It's fine. So if we regress,
when are we going
a
to?
bit,
When are we going back to WA? When are we going to WA, EG?
when someone pays for
Yeah,
it,
when are we
or actually when someone pays for it.
Get Luke to do a fucking DCA around here, then you'll probably
No.
come here.
Everybody's a fucking tight ass. Nobody's going to end up with a car that actually makes it over there. The only person who'll make it there's EG as the judge.
No, just
Actually-
like a WA local round.
Yeah,
And then
he'll
he'll just
probably go. It's Mitch Doyle. Like him coming from Northern Territory to Tasmania was an epic mission.
Did he,
Yeah,
did he drive it over?
No, he towed it. He towed it himself from Darwin to Melbourne. Then he got a permit to go over on the boat. Then he got another tow again because I think
Holy
he didn't
shit.
want to risk it. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I
so,
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
and then one of the rounds we actually had a WA guy come over as well for Calder. So, I think he was sponsored for that.
Was it a Falcon Ute?
Yeah, it was a Falcon Ute, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blue one, yeah.
yeah, a blue one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to go to Perth. I've got a few friends there, but yeah, really someone needs to pay for it because I think it's cheaper to go to Japan than it is to go to Perth.
Yeah, well, because you can get
To a point, yeah.
Narita tickets to Narita for like $300-$400, can't you, from your area?
Well-
around you got like Eastern State.
Yeah, the cheapest I could probably get to Japan that I've seen would probably be about $380. But like recently, Qantas have been doing really cheap flights to Japan, so it's only cost like $600 or $700. And I think flights from Canberra to Perth have been around $500-$600. So it's it's really not that much different.
Yeah, come $500 to go to Japan or $500 to come street drinking in Northbridge.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I'm more down for the drinking on the street. Works out cheaper for me, really. There's awkward silence over my broken car. Thanks, guys. You leave me hanging.
I don't think Ken knows about your car.
I don't
like, maybe you're filling me in with the details.
It's just
The sub story.
Oh, look, I haven't been able to keep a car together for a year and a half, and it fucking kills me because all EG says is you need seat time. It's like, yeah, no shit, dickhead.
And I keep telling you to buy
you need a car. You need a car that works. Yeah, I do need a car that works.
I keep telling you to buy like a cheap, basic car, and then you keep building an engine.
Mate, I'm sorting it this weekend, all right, mate? Just relax.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah, you just need. You can have that car. I don't mind that, whatever. But you also need like a practice car, like a battle car, a beater, a backup car, even.
I would say a backup car. This one's got a bent A-pillar from a car landing on it. The door's bent. The whole chassis is bent. One of the studs that holds the rear subframe is stripped. I think it's already beat to shit.
Just get another car.
Awkward silence again.
Just get
Thanks,
another
boys.
car. Okay.
Just listening to the story.
All right.
I'm dead set pretty sure that you two are like clones of each other.
That's a bit racist, mate.
I don't mean it.
No, I'm pretty sure Ken's more intelligent than I am. So you got to be careful with Ken. He's a bit. I think I've heard of him being very quick-witted and quick. Like his mind thinks very quickly. So
Yeah.
He just goes silent, mate.
Okay, one of the other things, the other rumors I heard, I think we kind of talked about it, was you were, going to go overseas, and one of this, I guess specifically, was you're going to conquer FD.
Is that in line with the rumor?
Oh, I thought it was America actually. You're actually going to.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Fuck
knock
no.
out the Americans.
Holy shit! Nah, man. Well, like, if you put into perspective, like think about Andy from Power Vehicles went there.
Yeah.
And he stopped going because I think it was like a money issue. I don't know. Someone can confirm that maybe. But if he can run out of money, then we have no chance.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
no, I never intended to, because I was like, that's just way too far out of my reach. I did think about FD Japan.
Okay.
But that was also going to cost me too much. Because if you want a car that's going to keep up with all the other guys that enter in FD Japan, like that's a pretty expensive car. And then think about the entry after that, and then all the tires that you need, and all the trips to go there. And you can't just go there for the day that you're doing the comp. You probably want to be there for like at least a week.
Yeah.
So I'd love to, but I don't have the money.
And that's all?
Need to run more drift schools, mate.
Running drift schools is just enough to get me, be able to eat.
So what you need to do is you need to conquer Australia first and be DCA champion.
I can't even do that, so.
So
I don't know hope of a fucking dropkick.
Nah. So you need to send one of your 50,000 cars from drift school over to EG, and it can live in his wrecking yard in his backyard, and he'll tow it to events for you, and then he'll just give you first place.
Oh, that's easy. That'll probably cost a bit too.
Nah, he's cheap. I haven't worked out the secret formula yet. I can't make it past the top 32, but I'll keep working at it.
Just keep building your car, man.
Did he hear that? I don't even know if he heard that.
Heard what?
No, don't worry.
He missed the burn.
No, he said keep building your car.
Oh, okay, you got it.
No, I take it to all the events. It just sits in the pits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
DCA is cool because what you do is you show up with a broken car, and then people feel sorry for you and then let you borrow their car for the battles.
Yeah. Does that work?
Yeah, I've done it twice.
Oh. Is it EG that lent it to you or no?
Nah, I haven't driven any of his God spec cars yet.
Okay, God spec.
The drift gods have. The drift gods have instilled much glory on EG, and his cars are blessed.
Most of the time I lend it out to people when their comeback crashed. So I don't know what I'm doing. For them.
Me either.
Yeah. Oh well, whatever. It's fun to watch people drift anyway. So as long as they're drifting.
Again, not me, but okay. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Race gone.
I don't know what else.
So all your rumors are fake, EG. The fact that he's going to America and conquering.
I haven't even been to America before, so.
Yeah, you don't have to go to want to go.
Yeah, well, I can't even afford to have an American trip to go and eat burgers and stuff, so no way I'd be able to buy tires and buy a drift car and everything.
Yeah, I think the idea was that you'd be sponsored by that point.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
so that's what it was.
I'm very open to sponsors, but welcome to jump on board and take me to America. I'll try and win.
Was the FD Japan thought Was that pre-drift school or during drift school?
During drift school, yeah, because it was like I was actually going to do it this year, so I
Okay.
planned it. I planned it last year,
Okay.
and then I just decided on just going to Mayhan instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like here locally, I don't even enter comps here. I don't know why. I'm just not like. There's only a particular comp that I do want to enter. I guess it's usually like maybe something like D1, like stuff like D1 SL, or I really at the beginning of this year I really aspired to try and get into Kansai All Star, or like I wanted to drive in Kansai All Star.
Yep.
But given my last trip, it was a bit of a rush to try and because it's qualifying is next Saturday for Kansai All Star, and then Kansai All Stars will be in July or in August, I think. So I don't know how it was going to happen, but I was going to try my best to do it. But then now it's a bit too much of a rush, and I didn't want to rush it to go make it to that event.
You gotta get some more stuff on your YouTube channel, mate. You haven't updated in 3 years.
Yeah, I just haven't bothered to upload anything. Usually just do it to Facebook.
Need to be friends then. But I would to do those sort of trips now. People looking at doing things like FD US or Japan or whatever, seems like your best bet, unless you've got a big dollar sponsor, is really just to move and live in that country and work, and then pay for the rest through sponsorship or whatever else you can do. But being based there to save yourself the thousands and thousands of dollars in bloody flights that end up being burnt. But I don't think a lot of people are willing to make that sort of sacrifice to make a program work. Most people want to keep their stable base somewhere else and then fly in, fly out, like the big boys with big dollars end up doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like if you really want to achieve something, you need to be there for a long time, because like if I go over somewhere for 2 weeks and something goes wrong with the car, that's pretty much the whole thing over. Little things you can fix quite easily, but if something serious happens, I can't, in a short time, then that means your driving is done, and it's just cost money for nothing. So, like I said, I'm pretty stingy, so I take all these into consideration, and I don't want to like just blow the money for no reason. I'll be quite sure that I've got a backup or it can work out somehow.
Yeah, but again, sounds like Aegis clone. All stuff that I hear from him.
The other side of the room to check to see if my phone's on.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we're like, if I go, even the way I'm going now, like they're still fairly simple cars. Like there's nothing really special about them. They're still bolt-on mods and pretty much stock everything. So imagine the maintenance on something that's like a proper built car.
Oh man, this internet sucks. I wonder if this...
Me and Ken are both frozen, and I look like a dickhead.
Ken's flashing pink now.
Hello? It's the Ouija's fault.
Yeah, it is.
Probably like half an hour of your live stream.
Just go poo on the grass on top of the bloody Parliament House and let them know how upset you are.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Actually, no, it's fenced off. You can't get up there now.
Yeah, I know. Whatever about all the terrorists.
Yeah, what terrorists? Yeah, it says that. I don't know how long we're back for. Wow. Reach live duration. We'll just wait for the stream to catch up, I think. I wonder why it keeps dropping out.
Because the internet is shit.
Yeah, it is shit.
I don't believe.
Ah, is this one of the accents that one of the guys are talking about?
No. No, we won't get into that. We won't get into any accents.
No. Okay.
No, isn't this PG-13?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clothes stay on.
So one of the guys down here is asking someone mentioned dynamic lock. What was that about? Is that another inside joke?
Nah, it's just I think it's like one of those things where it just gets translated in Japanese with how they set up their lock. You know how like when it's kind of like like when you pull your caster forward too much.
What do you mean by too much?
Like, well, not too much, but if you pull your caster forward, then your strut ends up looking like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say that. So.
Yeah.
Then when you're on lock, then it goes like that. So.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it translates to dynamic lock when you make it more like Wisefab, I suppose. Which is where the strut is more straight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I noticed that with Wisefab. It's pretty much just like flat all the way around.
Yeah, because it's like really what Wisefab's doing is making the geometry like perfect, I suppose. What a strut should be behaving like. But that's dynamic lock.
Okay.
Shit, hang on a sec. Hold up, I gotta plug my battery in.
Okay. Anyway, I think we're back on. I just wasn't very confident that it'd actually be streaming continuously. I was expecting to drop out again.
It seems alright, and we're back up to more viewers again. So.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So, what were we talking about before we were interrupted?
Some of the guys from home want me to describe what we call clutch kicks in WA.
Okay.
It's we just type it as WADAH.
What?
WADAH. So you know, like when people drop the clutch, and it goes WADAH. So it's, if you ever want to talk about a clutch kick, you just type it as WADAH, and you can see it in the comments there. They're going wild.
Well, maybe we need to bring out a shirt with that written on it there, EG.
Yeah, do a couple of WADAHs.
The WADAH.
Yeah. And then like WADAH is like the level 1 clutch kick.
Yeah.
And then when you want like level two, then it's VAPA.
Is there different noises for specific motors?
There is, because it depends how hard you go on the clutch dump. Because you know how like you're driving and you're like like that's like nice little clutch taps. Then after that it's WADAH, and then after that it's you fucking. Oh.
I think I heard that noise twice last year, and then one time it was rockets exploding. That was sick too.
Oh, cool. No, I haven't heard that before.
You wouldn't have. It's a
WA
very
thing.
not even the WA thing. It's just an insight group thing that we've created, and they just want the whole world. They want the whole world to know.
Ah.
The whole world, all 17 people.
So how many people are watching?
Yeah, I think people think our reach is a lot further than it is, and the influence that EG and I have is is hugely great on the scene. But really, it's
most of the people watching our friends. Yeah. Well, actually, no. We've got probably our number one fan is a granny, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So
it's just like EG's like family or something.
No. She's one of the Mount Gambier.
Mount Gambier.
And I saw she came down to Tasmania as well when we went down to Tasmania. just to
Yep.
support her grandson Tom. So yeah, she's really cool, and she's watched / listened to or every episode, which is it's pretty awesome. And Greg's still freezing. I have to screenshot that
Yeah,
one.
right in the middle of a yawn.
Yeah, I know. That was great. Okay. All right. So, at the moment, your plans are just to go back to Mayhan. Do you think you'll go to FD Japan next year?
I really don't see it happening, man. Like, I think I'm not sure what the hell I'm actually doing. Kind of like focused on drift school at the moment, and I just like to do that. I think I just find if I can just drive, if I can just do things that I can drive in a way that I'm like entertained and I find exciting, then I think I'm quite happy.
Okay.
But if like money wasn't an issue, then I'd really love to be doing big comps and doing stuff like D1 or along those lines.
Have you tried approaching sponsors and had no success, or you just haven't tried? Or
I just haven't because it's just I don't know. Like maybe when the timing is right, it'll. Oh, bye, Greg.
No, I'm back again. That's all right.
Hello, Greg. Yeah, maybe if the timing's right or it feels like the right thing to do. But at the moment, I feel like if I'm doing a proposal to a sponsor, just like, hey, I want to drift, and can you pay for it? Like, it doesn't. There's nothing really solid I feel like there is to work off.
Yeah, were you ever planning on using the business to leverage yourself?
Well, I feel like that only works locally.
Yeah, but would you say hit up? I know Penrite just jumped on board with Drift Cadet Peter down in Victoria.
Yep.
Would you look at trying to hit up an oil sponsor or something like that to service all your cars, and then maybe one day that can be used to leverage into personal sponsorship and doing that sort of thing?
Yeah, when you talk about it like that and how you can link it further, then I guess it sounds like the right thing to do. But at the time, I'm just like, I don't really need oils, so like we service the cars quite okay using my own funds. So I don't want to take things from a company and have that pressure of trying to provide or give back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because when the product that I'm getting, let's say like oils, I don't really need it. So to have that commitment to a sponsor, which like it's just unnecessary pressure, I suppose.
It's funny you say that. That's a conversation I've had with one of the guys who's driving pro competition over on the East Coast, and being like, sponsorship money isn't always free in respect to
Okay, you should be back live now, I hope. If someone can check that.
Yeah, I'm watching it, but
Uh,
oh yeah, look how beautiful we are. We're all HD again. Have your audio going? Can you hear us?
yeah, I should be able to. I can see the audio bars moving now.
Okay, the guy said that they can hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't even know where the fuck we were at. We've just been talking shit about these Team Rush guys or whatever off air.
Okay.
Yeah, that DJ guy's. Yeah, he's not very cool.
I got told to ask you. Do you know Mr. RFB?
Oh, RFB, it's Sean Brooks. He's the most famous drifter in WA. He's amazing.
Do you care to elaborate? Do you care to elaborate?
He's got blonde hair. He's very tall, very handsome. Has a family. Has an R32 with an RB27.
An RB27. Guy's got money.
Nah, he built it himself.
Yes, he still wouldn't spend money on RB27.
No, too much risk.
Team Rush. Can do goat sounds to check mine. Mah. Mah.
All right. I don't even know what we were talking about beforehand. What actually was Greg that was talking. Just sponsorship.
Oh, we're on sponsors. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we spoke about other stuff, so everybody else can miss out on that part of the chat. That'd be a chat I would like to have at some other point. Go more in depth with that, and probably try and get some people that have a little bit more know-how than I do on that sort of thing. But yeah.
Okay.
But Ken's just going to win Powerball and move to Japan and fuck the drift school. Basically, that's what he said off air.
No, I wouldn't never fucking move to Japan. I like the drifting, but I don't think I could handle living there.
No.
Too much structure for you, mate.
Hey?
Too much structure. You don't like standing left on elevators and being sensible.
Yeah, not sure what it is, but I think it's just like everything's just so everything's so hectic. You know, it's not. I think in the last trip that I went to is just so many times I'm just like, man, you can't really relax here. You know, like everywhere it's just hectic. You know, there's a line everywhere. You get on the train, there's just people everywhere. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting really old.
Like, I'm pretty sure by you speaking like that, you can't move anywhere other than Perth.
Yeah. I love Perth though. It's so like
you might be able to go to Darwin, or even better, you might be able to move to Broome.
I went to Darwin. Holy shit, that place is hot.
Yeah, but do you surf?
No.
Okay, because you got both legs still, right?
Yeah, well, I used to skate, and I'd stopped doing that, so I wanted to keep my legs.
Oh, well, I'm more meant getting attacked by sharks and shit. Like.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you just meant like your knees just getting weak when you fall over or whatever.
Nah, that's yeah. Keeping limbs like that, broken limbs is okay, but having them bitten off by great whites in Perth is probably not a good look.
Yeah, no, I'm not down for that.
Because you can still use your Wadar foot, even if the knee's broken.
Oh yeah, you can still use your walking stick to do it, right?
Yeah.
Your hand. You can do
Did
hand Wadars.
Did you see the video with Chair Slayer driving Njuku's R32 Skyline, and they tape his feet to the pedals? They tape his feet to the pedals, and then he uses his hand to push his legs to push the pedals.
Oh really?
Yeah, he just didn't have brakes.
So he doesn't have legs.
No, he's paralyzed. It's the dude, the Chair Slayer dude who does all the hand control stuff in the the V8. I guess 240 hatch.
Okay.
But yeah, he ended up they taped his right foot to the accelerator and his left foot to the clutch, and then he was using his hands to push his knees down to do the pedals, but yeah, no brakes.
Yeah. That'll work.
And I think it was his first time driving right-hand drive, and he actually did okay too.
Yeah. I remember ages ago, there was a Japanese JZX 100, weld
Yeah.
one.
I
Yeah, and
remember
that guy
that.
was like wheelchair guy, and he I think he uses his mouth to do control stuff. I can't remember what he used,
No.
but it wasn't his legs.
No, it's all.
Was it
hand
like heaps of hand pedals?
So I think the accelerator was another ring within the steering wheel. The clutch,
And you push that down or something.
The clutch was on a button, and I think the button was in 2 spots, maybe. I don't know why. I think one was on the top of the shifter. So when you went to shift, you push down the button, you shift and let it go. I think another one might be on the steering wheel, so you could clutch kick it. And I think actually it was on the handbrake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Yeah, I got mixed up with. I thought it was mouth because that was actually what I thought was going to be a great idea to do. For stuff. Like
so you don't have motion in your legs. You got your arms, but you just use your mouth instead.
No, well, you got your arms, so you use your arms to steer, and you've got this device that goes in your mouth like a thing, and you use that for the throttle. So you go, yeah. It's a great invention. You should do it for disabled drifters.
What about braking and clutch? Is that different parts of your mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So your left cheek, left jaw is brake, and then the right is your throttle.
Ah, yeah, okay. And then you use for the clutch.
Well, soon enough, Tesla's going to come out with their drift autonomous vehicle anyway, and it'll just turn back into whoever can afford the most power in their bloody Tesla drift car that drifts itself, right?
What?
You guys are fucking worse. Get out of here. I told you, they're fucking clones of each other, straight up. The reactions to everything I say is exactly the same. See? This is what I'm talking about. Awkward silence.
I'll just leave it to AG. I'm just the guest.
Okay. No, well... No, I don't even know. I don't even know where to go from here. Yeah, you should do that.
Go on a fucking bed, can't see you later. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's past his bedtime, actually.
Yeah, it is kind of past my bedtime.
What is it, like 11 there? Or 10?
10, 15.
10. So, it's a school night, so he has to go to bed.
Well, I'm not on until 6:30 tomorrow morning, so it's not totally awful.
Sounds appealing. Yeah, so I guess you covered a lot of stuff while I was offline.
I don't know if it was streaming at the time, though.
No, I'm doing the streaming, so...
yeah. Nah, we're just talking about stuff that... Yeah, just talking about stuff. Maybe one day that stuff will be brought up online, but we'll see.
Okay. So yeah. I don't know. Well,
come on, mate. This is your guest. You're supposed to be all.
Yeah, I was actually expecting Ken to go on and on about this sort of drifting thing. Cause that was one of the. As soon as he heard that cast, I think he messaged me, and then just telling me about like how I was like, yeah, I want to talk about it as well. So I thought that would be like a fairly big, sizable chunk of discussion, but
I think we need like a bit of a, like I said, a bit of a trigger, maybe something that's quite controversial, and then we'll get going.
You're not allowed to speak about controversial topics and have your own opinion on social media. You know that, right?
Yeah, I guess I just don't post on social media that often, so I never get into that sort of shit. Let's have. I'm going to look through history and see what I said to you.
Okay. What else? Yeah. So you still have your 8.6, don't you?
It's been sitting there for. I rolled it in, I think, 2009 or something, or 2010.
Was that a Barbagello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rolled it. and then it sat for a little while, and then I think 2 years ago I tried to get it fixed. Well, I didn't try. Got it fixed.
Yeah.
Got it running and everything for an event, and then the week it was like running good for a month. Like the motor was running good, and then the week before the event, the motor just decided not to turn on. Like it wouldn't start. So I think the ECU has shut itself or something.
Okay.
Not sure. And since then, I've just like not had time for it. Like we've just been doing with school cars, playing with Sylvias and Skylines and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you run Wisefab and all them?
What's that?
And you run Wisefab and all them because it's your favorite lock kit?
See, I don't have a problem with Wisefab. Like I think it's a preference thing. Like my opinion on it is like if you don't, I think the problem is a lot of people will go ahead and get Wisefab. Like I said, there's no problem with getting Wisefab at all, but I think if you started drifting not too long, you only done it for like a little bit less than a year or 6 months or whatever, and you go and buy Wisefab, it's not going to fix your drifting. You know what I mean? I always see drifting as like any other sport. Like I've probably people that have come to a drift school use as an example is like if you play tennis or you play football or whatever, it's not like you can just go buy some parts and make your leg kick better, right? Or buy a ball that will just, whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about practice. So I find that a lot of drifting in Australia, or maybe even a lot in the world, is a lot of people not working on their skill to get better. When there's like that is probably the most important part, rather than trying to like keep buying parts, not just Wisefab, but like a lot of parts to just keep going and thinking that that's going to make you progress when really it should just be you driving.
Did you guys talk about this offline when I wasn't connected?
Nah, one of the boys asked the question, asking how much he likes Wisefab, so I figured I'd throw it in as part of your question and see what's up.
I feel like if you've done enough driving and you think I want Wisefab and I need it, and you can logically give a reason why you need it, then all right, go ahead, go do it. But I think a lot of people just go and buy it because a lot of the pros have it. So if the pros have it, then it must make me better at drifting.
Yeah, because the timing wise, how long did you start drifting and when did you get Wisefab, Greg?
A year and a bit.
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't have a huge amount of mates in drifting because I'd only been back in Australia a year by the time that I put that in, and I didn't have mates who could cut and shut and do all that sort of stuff. And all I wanted was a kit that would bolt in, and at the time it was the only bolt. It was literally the only bolting kit at the time.
Yeah, but like I think the idea about it's not Wisefab specific. It's like any sort of lock kit. So you kind of.
But Wisefab does do. If it's set up badly or you drive it badly, it's pretty obvious when it's doing its funky shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just.
Oh, but
I completely got knocked the idea out of my head. I can't remember what else going on about.
One of our fans wants to know, but is it better?
Oh boy. I think you can.
Adrian, why did we get this guy? He clearly talks big in texts to you, but he's too politically correct for the internet.
I didn't even send EG that. I just said a couple of things. It's not like I wrote a novel. It was. Yeah, I just said I listened to your stuff and it sounds really good and I like your opinions. Something along those lines, anyway. I didn't really say that much. Okay. I didn't talk big at all.
He basically sat there and said, "This white guy is a fucking retard, and why are you doing a live stream with him?"
I
didn't
just
deny
saw. I saw AG just saying some things, and then like I don't know. It's just a mixed opinion, I guess.
Politically correct, mate. This guy should be our prime minister.
Anyway, we'll give the people what they want. Is WASFab better? Like honestly speaking, I think WASFab geometry wise is superior. But when it comes to drifting, I think that perfect geometry isn't what sometimes brings the most exciting driving out of a car. What do you reckon, EG?
I agree. I didn't put it that way though, but yeah, it's that idea.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the reason why a car snaps hard and gets, it's that particular look, it comes from a bit of shit geometry, really. It's like the front isn't actually gripping for that moment in time compared to WASFab. Whereas WASFab is just like fucking planted to the floor the whole time. So kind of like no matter what you do, you can get it to angle and it will get to angle, it will get backwards, but it's not really going to get that same particular snap that you would get from something like cut and shuts.
I've seen it before. I've seen people do it, but it's really rare with WASFab. And then when people generally get WASFab, they're just sort of using the steering lock and they're not actually doing that sort of snapping.
Yeah. Like it does get to angle and it can get there quick, but it's just something about it when you look at it and it just sort of doesn't look as snappy.
No, it's lazy. And if you don't have it set up right, and to me, I guess their new kit would be interesting to have a play with the fact that you can play with a whole bunch of different geometry now, but you can put it in, not do a wheel alignment, and get a shitload of lock out of it, and not feel any different or any changes in the front really. And I think that's the scariest part. Where on a more traditional setup, if something's not right in your alignment, you'll feel it through the whole range of lock, I would say, and it can create problems. Where on WASFab you can end up being really lazy with it and just sort of throw it in and just drive it and have a shitload of lock and not really think twice about it. But it will be that sort of lazy transitions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you driven with it?
I have. It just feels a lot lazier.
Yeah. I'm not talking lazy as in you have to drive it lazy. It's lazy as in the reaction. The reaction of the car is lazy.
It's like the same. It's like the same sort of like you put the same inputs as you would with a cut and shut to do the same thing, but like it gets to the angle that you want to, but it doesn't actually get it there fast.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not trying to like shit on WASFab or anything. Like everyone has their own preferences and how they want to drive, but if you're asking for my opinion, that's how I feel when I drive it or when I look at it.
And well, the funniest part is a lot of the guys who are running the version 1 kits, I end up finding out a lot of the FD guys were getting them modified by one particular shop over in the States.
Yeah.
To change the feel, like the bottom brackets and stuff on them were all being cut off and re-welded, and to change the geometry so it didn't get that quick rack feel to it. It was a little bit more of a natural feel. But most people think that it's just an off-the-shelf kit, and that's the sort of stuff even James Dean was running last year before this V2 stuff was announced. Was him playing with other versions of WASFab, throughout the year, and nobody really knowing because it's just being marketed as their V1 kit, and now their V2 kits come out, and I think it's probably, the good bits from V1 plus being able to probably do a little bit more of the natural, normal style that is on every other kit, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I feel with the whole, like when I've driven it, I don't feel like I don't feel particularly different either. Like that part that I described just before, I feel like that part is different where it's just slightly slower in that snap, but for the most part, the rest of it still does the same thing. And I feel that it's all got to do with how you drive your car as well. Like if you're a fairly lazy driver, and you just let the car do what it wants, then I feel like Wisefab ends up being superior because it's got more potential in that driving itself, I suppose.
Yeah, I still think most people end up with it set up wrong though, and you've probably driven a car with it set up right.
Yeah. Oh, you mean on cut and shots or on Wisefab?
No, on Wisefab.
Okay. Yeah.
You watch guys who have just thrown it in for the first time, and they're driving on lock the whole time, and it's just crab walking everywhere, and you just know that the car's pushing itself to lock and staying there.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it's up to the driver, because if you can input and control it, then it doesn't matter. Like, it almost doesn't matter what car you drive or what setup you have. Like, you should generally always just make the car do what you want. So, but that's what I mean. I feel like Wisefab ends up getting to that point where it crabs and all that a lot easier if you're just letting it do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
But if you're a driver that actually can manipulate the car, it's like whether you jump into a car that has Wisefab or cut and shut, you can still make it do the same thing as long as you're the one that's taking control and actually driving the car. So going back to what we were saying before, like, it's all about practice. Whether it doesn't matter what lock kit you have, like, you can still do the same things. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Can't easy. This is not a visual show. This is an audio show. You gotta give some emotions, mate.
No, I agree. I think that's part of. Hopefully I covered it in the episode a long time ago. But it's the same sort of thing. Like, I think one thing as you bring up is, like, you shouldn't. I think that you should be able to get as much angle, like lots of angle, without actually having to have steering lock. So you can go through the motions.
Yeah, you're talking front end slip and all that. Yeah, you covered it in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, you usually see when people install a new lock kit or whatever, and the first picture is, hey guys, check out how much lock I have. When the car is up in the air, it's like, that shit, it doesn't mean shit. Like, it's still at the end of the day how you get there.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. But I don't know, like, I can't really add, or it's like what I'm saying is I'm agreeing with it, so it's not really adding or taking away from it. I completely agree. Yeah. So.
Don't you have some sort of salute or something you do when somebody agrees with your opinion?
He could make one now.
No, please don't. Just don't.
I don't know what you're talking about, Greg.
Nah, no idea.
No.
I'd be impressed if people have made it this far through.
Yeah, actually, the your fans over in Western Australia actually have been quite good with the comments. I think
because it's only 8:30 at the moment. It's not time to sleep yet. So,
well, you don't sleep, mate. You only work twice a month.
Like I said, it's still got to wake up and get other car shit done. And
yeah, you got to eat. I understand that, but then you can go back to bed.
Can if I wanted to, but then there wouldn't be anyone for the next drift day. Got to make that shit happen. Well, what's this other one here? Ryan Anderson said, "Tell us how to snap hard, please."
Tell us how to snap hard.
Ryan? How do you want it explained?
Explain to Greg, because he's.
Yeah. So here's my story on snapping hard. So EG's teammate Paul. I don't know if you've met Paul.
I think I have, because all of EG's pals have all come to Vizu. I think I've definitely met him, but I can't remember exactly which one because there's a few.
Yeah, and so we're up at QR Matsuri, and he was in front of me in the line going into turn 3, so that M section at the back, and he's just driving in there, and he just flicks that car, and it's just like so quick to angle, but then sort of like just skates, and the wheels don't move, nothing moves. It just skates in, and then he's disappeared into the dark, and I don't see the rest of the run, and then it's my turn. And I'm like, I need to learn how to do that shit. And then I went to Wakefield and he started doing it, and then my car broke.
Okay. Well, the main thing is with snaps, it's actually having, it's entering a lot later than what most people would normally do, because most of the time when you enter a corner, the average drifter is coming in and obviously a little bit of a scando, and then you're on the handbrake, right? And it's like minimal angle. So backwards entries and big snaps and all that don't happen when you're trying to drag it to the edge to get to the corner, because you've lost all your momentum. It's all about actually having a big momentum, enough momentum that you're coming with speed and you've broken traction on pretty much the front wheels and everything else, so that you can rely on just the, man, it's hard to explain. Hey, it's easy to show it, but you're pretty much braking traction so that momentum can carry you only using momentum, so that the wheels aren't actually trying to grip. Because if you're trying to just use the wheels to grip, you don't even have 90 degrees of lock, or like most cars don't have 90 degrees of lock. So how are you supposed to sit there just rolling if you've lost all your speed and momentum?
My question is, how do you load up the car to get it to do it though?
Well, going straight, a feint always works best, because if you think about coming in, let's say the corner is going this way. If you're coming straight and you try and brake traction going this way only, there's still that delay of time that the car needs to brake traction. So that's the reason why you use a feint, or even people using scandos, because if you brake traction going this way first, then it's already all happened. So you're using that time to actually brake traction going this way. Then the next thing you're doing is everything's already lost its traction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you're doing that with a big Wadar to do it, to start that?
Yeah, that's it. So big Wadar, or even if you do it, like, you don't have to do it, but it definitely makes the snap a lot harder. So when you're turning that way, all of it is all lost traction. So that's why it flips around a lot quicker. So that's how you use the snap. But the problem is a lot of people think about snap, and it's, you're thinking just about
turning into the corner.
Yeah, just turning corners. So that's why people do like big scandos and whatnot. But the problem with that is that if you do a big scando, then you've lost all your speed to actually get that glide, which you were talking about before, where you saw that the car was just like on four wheels or whatever and just sliding across. So that's where you've lost all your speed, because if you do a scando, if you're going straight and you do the mini feint like that, your weight is transferring straight. But if you do a scando, then you're sort of like sending the weight this way, and then you're sending the weight this way. So then no speed is going straight anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I started at Calder Park for DCA last year. I started trying to almost, I guess, rolling burnout or wheel spin as soon as I clicked third, and tried to just keep it wheel spinning, but sort of in more of a straight line, and then tried to do the sort of the quick drop feint. Is that something as well? That's
like the natural, like you would just do it naturally. But the problem with that is that then you don't have speed, because essentially the big entry comes from you using all your speed and then washing that off from the big snap. So you still need to be able to push forward constantly and actually keep that speed going, so that when you do your entry, so that you time it right, by the time you snap, you're backwards, and when you get back on power, then you're still going to carry through the corner with speed. Because the problem is a lot of people will do backies or whatever, but you do a backie and you're just dragging yourself backwards to get to the end, or to get to the actual corner. So then it doesn't look like a smooth sort of momentum carry through the corner. Because when you do you don't just do backwards entries because just for the hell of it. Like, obviously it's cool because you're going backwards and it doesn't look right in a car. But if you're aiming to drive fast, then you should still be carrying that same angle with speed going through that corner. So let's say you're doing a hairpin, like a fairly gradual hairpin, and you pop it backwards. If you're popping it backwards, the way your car should be facing should end up being where you would have ended up facing anyway by mid-corner. That sounds confusing.
No,
no.
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Because and you're going to be fast. You're going to be faster than someone that comes in with shallow angle and drags himself to that same point in the middle of the apex. Because what you've done with doing the big snap and the big entry is you've washed off all your speed, but you've also entered later. So it's really much the same as like grip racing, where you're always trying to balance that fine line of braking as late as possible and still being able to make the apex. So you're still essentially doing the same thing with drifting. You're coming in and using the snap and the angle to slow yourself down and making your car point and still carry through on power through the apex and not have a little wobble. Because a lot of people will come in and backwards entry and then you have to pull it back, or you can see it, they've lost. It's quite clear they've lost some momentum and they have to pull it through, or you see this big wobble, or you see the front wheels go like straight again, and then they back onto the lock. So it's what you pretty much want to come in and it just stays on lock the whole time, and then you carry through and finish off the corner.
Did you get that, Greg?
Yeah. No, I'm listening. I thought just waiting for you to jump in, mate, and I'm just
no, because it's a lot of the same stuff that we've talked about, but I guess some people don't agree with it. But they see drifting as just the burnout coming out of a corner, or just sort of doing big doughies or something like that.
But even trying to get to those moments, like as much as you'll give me shit for my ability with driving, like when I was at Calder last year, that's the big entry there and sort of the big off throttle as the car settled back in on itself and doing all that because you are throwing it as hard and as fast as you can, to me is the best part, really, because it's that unknown if I'm actually going to make the corner or not, because I have overcommitted myself to the corner, as opposed to coming in at a safe speed and just sort of bagging it up at the right time, and being able to just sort of rolling burnout drive through the rest of the course because I've set myself up in the perfect safe scenario.
Well, the main thing is it's for that to all happen and to snap the car and put it to angle, it really has to involve a lot of input. So if you're that kind of lets the car do it and you don't really like push into the steering, or you just kind of like let it do what it wants, it's very hard for a car to just pop into backwards. So I can see why, if people are doing it and they're just generally like Scando and they handbrake into it, like that's just generally what the car resorts to first, unless you push it to the point where it's going to like do into it backwards, or hold like big angle or snap it.
Yeah, I guess for me, Wakefield is one of the funny ones because of the shape of the first corner on the short course, and the last day that I did, I started having more confidence to stay on throttle longer with sort of I don't know how much you've seen of Wakefield, if you've driven Wakefield, but it sort of cuts in and then it tightens all of a sudden, and you've sort of got to stay on throttle a lot longer than it feels like you should have to stay on throttle. Okay. And to begin with, that was one of my big issues. You sort of keep looking at it as this big smooth corner when it's definitely not. And you can sort of back it into the hairpin section of it if you stay on throttle, but sort of your natural reaction to it is just to keep trying to slow down the car and settle the car to get through there, as opposed to waiting till you're almost past the second part of the corner to actually drive out of it.
It's a little bit, I'm going to say it's a little bit like Mayhan, where you've got, because it does have the same sort of thing where it's got a wall and then a straight and then like the hairpin, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different though. Like there's no wall on the second sort of section.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think it's as I think Mayhan's the distance of that first before the double apex is longer.
Yeah, it is heaps longer. Like I'm guessing 160, 150 Ks into that first corner. So it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because all the grip and everything would be completely different at that speed as well. It's also like, as a driver, a lot of people need to assess whether that corner whatever corner you do, whether you can do that angle. A lot of people just pop backwards and just because it's backwards, but if the corner doesn't suit it, then you're never going to have that speed or that momentum to carry through it. Like a lot of people will pop backwards into 90-degree corners, ones that just go straight and then left or whatever. But the car doesn't, when you go backwards, that's past the angle of what the corner requires.
Yeah.
Do you get many people chucking it back? I guess, yeah, you've got a corner that's pretty well suited to it in WA. Like turn 1 is pretty good for that.
You can do it, but it's
short, and I guess into the cut section as well. You can probably do it.
So, but the hairpin's okay for it, and the first corner's good for it as well. But the problem is with the first one, like I said before, if you pop too much, then you're never going to have that same carry. You still want to match the same speed as what a normal car's coming through at. Because if you go too much angle, then you're just baking it and you're not going fast. So you got to watch, like with the first corner, it's more of like a little bit over 90 degrees rather than super backwards. You know what I mean? Like a hairpin, a very tight hairpin is like suitable for mega backwards.
Yeah, I don't even think we have anywhere in New South Wales that's really suited to that. Now that Port Macquarie's open, you can sort of do it there, and then down the hill at Raleigh, I would imagine is probably your two main places in New South Wales that you've actually got a track that you can pop it in backwards.
Yeah.
The figure 8 you definitely can't. You can try, but you won't finish the rest of the first corner proproperly.
Yeah.
And then I don't think anywhere on North Circuit, South Circuit, people were doing it into the 9. Doing into the 90 degree, but then you don't really have to stick it. You don't really have to stick it for very long. You sort of back on power and then quick transition after it.
I think that track is like 12 meters wide or 14 meters wide. It's such a it's a huge track.
Yeah.
So
Brian was saying before when we were talking about how to snap. So it's kind of like grip/weight transfer in one direction, then turn what are. And also, what about how at Mahan, how they go really fast and they like bake to slow down? It looks so cool. Yeah, so it's pretty much it. Is you want to try and go straight, and it's a slight slip. You're not really trying to get it into full sort of like drift or anything, or even a full like slide. It's just enough so it's slipping so that the wheels are definitely like unbalanced. And then the next part is the water.
Yes.
And it's about you turning and making it get to that angle. But that's really the main thing is at Mahan, you want to just try and start it like super late so that you back it in, but then you end up at the wall and you want to be close to death, but you save yourself by getting on the gas throttle.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue, especially with the lack of seat time in the last year, is that confidence to let out the clutch and use the acceleration of the tires to slow the car down rather than just burying my right foot into the brake pedal and then just seeing wherever the fucking car ends up.
Yeah, because most of the time, what a lot of people do is come in and you do an entry, but you slow yourself down so much in the entry that all you're doing is trying to pick the speed back up as you go through the corner. But when you're doing an actual entry, what you're doing is coming in hard and you're trying to slow down, but you're keeping that speed all the way through. And that's what you do by entering later and getting on the throttle while you're backwards. So that's kind of like, that's how you know you've done a good actual backwards entry.
Yeah. That's where I've got to retrain my brain. Even Simmons Plains last year when I went for the first time was the same sort of issue. Like, rather than getting back on power, I felt like I was doing a decent job of unsettling the car, and then my natural reaction was to try and slow the car down rather than just committing to what I had started with. I think that's my bigger issue.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, most of the time you can always save yourself blasting away from wherever the danger is. So like if you're about to spin and your car is like the back of your car is about to go on the sand trap, like if you get onto it, like most of the time you will save yourself. But the times that people eat shit is when they're like, oh fuck, I'm so scared, and then they just stomp the brake or whatever, and then that makes it worse because then you just carry further into shit.
Yep, done that a couple of times on the figure eight.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's like, it's about, it's the biggest key thing for big entries and snaps is entering later, like later than what you think.
Yeah, I think that's for not even just for big snaps, but I think just in general, most people end up, and that's what EG got in trouble for pointing out at other events, or I think he does it at DCA in the Judges Tower too. Just people slowing down too early or grabbing handbrake too early.
What's also like, if you enter late and you don't snap hard and you don't get the big angle, then you're actually more chance of eating shit, because if you have low angle, then you're closer to that point of actually straightening up or doing something wrong, and you don't have enough sort of pushing speed or pushing power to get back in. Does that make sense? Because like your car is still pointing closer to where the danger is.
Yeah, but I guess at that point, if you're falling short, you just keep it on lock and hook it back keep the wheels on locked up, whatever direction the track's going, and you'll end up straightening up and sort of safely.
Yeah, well, that's up to
out.
you to turn back in. But sometimes, if you, let's say for Mayhan, if you flick it in at the same point that you would for a hard snap and big backwards, but you've only got like 10 degrees of angle,
yeah,
like, you don't have time to turn back in. You're fucked anyway. So if you enter late, it kind of forces you to turn in anyway, because you know that you've got to get away from a wall or the sand trap or whatever it is. So you should just naturally put it into big angle.
Yeah, I guess that's not a bad way of thinking about it. You sort of get back on the power to run away from the danger. Like if you're scared that you're gonna run, if you're scared that you've entered too late and you're gonna run off the track, you're gonna run off the track either way. So get back on the power and try and run away from it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, you just that's the main thing. And if you do that, you can never go wrong. Like, because
you can, but
but
you can never go wrong. I'm gonna write my fucking car off and then send you a picture and be like, it went wrong.
Yeah, but if you do it properly, because that's how Jack Shanahan, when he was at Mount Gambier, he saved it from hitting the wall. Do you remember that occasion?
Yeah, but he's a fucking sick cunt.
So a lot of people do that for spin recovery with drifting.
It's also like Minami, man. Like, you know how many people write their cars off in the Minami wall after the jump?
Yeah, there's lots of good videos of that one.
Yeah, like the main thing is that you're not ready to push back in. Like if you just go, jump, and then you're like, hey, I'll let the car do whatever, and then it's like you tap the rear wall. If you don't have your hand on the steering wheel and you're not ready to turn back in, then and power away from it, then you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like any wall, really. Like you always got to be ready for, if you do tap it, to turn away from smashing your front end.
Yeah. Man, I've got to stop talking to people like you. It makes me want to drive more. My car's always.
Oh, that's a good thing, right?
I got so much things to fucking learn. So much things to feel.
Just enter later. That's always the fix.
No.
I think
it's not about that.
Greg
I need a car that fucking works.
Yeah, seat time. He needs a car that runs.
Yeah.
and then somewhere to drive it.
Ah, fuck. Yeah, there's plenty of places to drive it legally.
Do we need to elaborate more on that part, or are we?
He tries to. He's encouraging me to come to. He wants me to come down to Canberra and do some lamp inspections.
Lamp inspection.
Street lamp inspections at night. Just make sure the light's working.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, Japan Street Drift.
Yeah, something like that. We'll just go back in time a bit, about a decade or so. Yeah.
I've never done that. Don't condone any of that sort of activity. It's only for hooligans.
I didn't
They don't have streets in Perth, so he doesn't know what it's about.
Oh.
Was that another quiet Greg moment?
I think so.
I said they don't have streets in Perth. Just dirt roads and Aboriginals.
Okay.
Shit. Jesus.
All right. Well. Anyway.
Boom, boom, boom. Hey, so to get me right on my fainty entries. So I'm right with if I'm coming in and I'm doing Wakefield, right? So
Is it a right hand corner or left hand?
I'm gonna be hanging it right.
Right.
And there's a
Okay.
and there's a wall to my left.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sort of head towards the middle of the track, the inside line of the track. I'm gonna start driving on a slight angle towards the wall. Well, no, I'm gonna be sort of straight down. I will start to turn in towards the wall a little bit, and I should be clutch kicking at Wadaring at that point to start to bag up the rears, and then just after I've done my left input, I'm dropping my right hand to get it to turn in, and then.
So what you're doing is you're coming in straight, and when you go left, you don't use any clutch or anything like that, because what you want to do is still just be sort of driving forward, but it's on the slip. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I should be wheel spinning.
Yeah, but then it's not like full wheel spin where it's started.
Yeah, not full bake sort of thing. Yeah. Just a little bit of slip where the car once you drop the hand in towards the corner that the rear just wants to come out with you.
Yeah.
Do you re-clutch kick again at that point again?
Yeah. So when you go right, when you actually go for the direction of the corner, that's when you clutch. Or if you do, you can do whatever. You don't have to clutch all the time, but yeah, definitely helps with the snap.
Sorry, your mates are giving me shit because I said clutch kick instead of wada.
Oh, I said clutch as well. What an idiot.
Yeah, so I think I've got my technique down. I just need to get my timing right. And I think, do you think if the suspension's set up too soft that it makes it harder to do as well?
It doesn't really matter too much. Soft sometimes if you can make it work, then it snaps even harder because it's kind of like it's got a load.
Yeah, I was just worried that mine is too soft and I doesn't. Once I load, it doesn't come back quick enough.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, what coilovers are there?
I have feel.
Okay, I don't know how they behave, but it always depends on how the actual shocks behave.
Yeah.
But too soft is not good. Too hard's not good. It's kind of around like setting it around, balancing it out, middle around there. But it's just all. So.
Yeah, one of your mates likes it soft. I'm not sure.
Sure he does. That's the famous Sean Brooks.
Oh, this is the good-looking dude.
Yeah, the really handsome one with kids.
The supermodel.
Yeah,
we should get him on at some stage, GG.
I didn't even know who he is. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I will not. Your Team Rush mates are trying to get me to get an LS. I will not ever get an LS.
It's anyway, more on the technique part. It's timing is really important as to when you what are.
All right.
So
I got work to do.
It's like a lot of people will turn and then do the water, but what you want to do is get that water happening as soon as you start turning.
Yeah, because it was interesting because both Jack Shanahan and Luke said to me at Mount Gambier that to get the car to snap harder on any transition, they both clutch kick the car every time the car transitions. And that, like, I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, like every time they go to transition, they're just mashing it again. And I was like, man, I just lift, the car starts to come back, and then I just put my foot back on it and hope it sort of does it. And I found it interesting that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really agree with it. Like, I think for an initial snap, then yes, but every transition is kind of like unnecessary.
No, I do it every transition. Just past the, you know how like if there's a midpoint, just as soon as you
Yeah.
pass the midpoint, you do it.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is trying to make it quicker because it's my car feels slow. So I feel if I do that, then it'll jump out quicker in that direction.
Yeah.
But then how do you slow the rotation?
Huh?
Well, the car's just set up well enough that it doesn't over-rotate.
Yeah.
No, I assume I know what I'm doing, and I do it in the amount that I require it.
It's just about like catching.
You're not
Catching
fucking
your wheel.
helpful, mate.
Huh?
Said you're not fucking helpful, mate. Look, I know what I'm doing, and I trust
No,
myself
I
to
said
do it.
I
mate.
assume. I assume it.
I
clearly
fucking
said I
don't.
assume. So it's. I think with you, Greg, you probably need to go back a couple of steps. Like you might be going too far, too fast.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Never.
So, try and develop each sort of skill first, and I guess it's probably difficult to self-assess as well, because a lot of people
I
have.
accept that I'm shit.
It'll be good if there's like a marker, if an indicator so you could tell a lot easier. But
Yeah,
I guess you probably self-assess
Michael
against
from-
others.
Yeah, and if Michael from Driftbit's watching, what's happening with our stuff, mate?
But if just to take over that question, like what I normally do at Wakefield on the short course is I'm going down the straight and then I lift off and turn towards the wall, and then I kick when I turn to the corner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So I use the lift off to break traction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I need to drive to work that one out.
But that's the way I do it. Doesn't mean it's right. Sometimes if it's a faster car in front of me, then I just on the gas the whole time and just kick. That's it. And then it's
and then you run into me.
No, you ran into me. I've got that on video. So I think that's the most important bit, but it might be. You just need a car that you can drive it consistently.
Fucking no shit, dickhead.
He just seems to tell you this all the time.
Everyone does. I think Greg spends the most time in the pits out of everyone I know.
The Wadar pit tour is going to happen one day.
Yeah, and then some of your clutch kicks are quite aggressive as well. Like everyone says how bad I am, like how heavy I do it, how frequently I do it, but yours is like they're huge. They're always epic clutch kicks.
It's the level.
Mate.
It's the level 2 clutch kick, is it?
Yeah.
Mate, if
you're
if your accelerator and clutch pedal are not touching the firewall, you haven't done it deep enough.
Okay.
Hey, that's got to do with my lazy ass fucking turbo setup too. So hopefully with this setup that's coming, the car will just be on boost quicker.
when you have like a bigger powered car and it's obviously laggy, or is it laggy?
Yeah, compared to the old
It
stuff.
looks like it. It looks like it.
Yeah. When it's all top end, it's all on your left foot.
Yeah,
It's not about clutch kicks. It's more on actual clutching in and keeping your revs up and massaging it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have told him this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, my biggest problem is that sometimes I just need to let my nuts take over the driving and my brain talks too much.
It's mainly just track time, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
You probably already know all the shit that you need to do, but just need to drive it more. Just doing. I know this, dickhead.
No, but it's funny. Like coming from the background in sport that I've come from, I'm pretty good at accepting the criticism and working out what the next step is to getting to the next step. But a lot of people haven't had a background in sport or anything like that, and tend to jump into these things and just, once they've got to a level where they can skid around the track, that's it. I can make it around the course, right? That's cool. Like I'm a great drifter now, and I think a lot of people aren't realistic with themselves enough to be like, what more can I get out of it? How much faster can I go? Can I make the car rotate faster? And that's why I think even when you guys or EG every week's putting shit on me about a lot of this stuff, it's good stuff for anybody who's sort of up and coming to actually listen to and think about when they're driving. Because I think a lot of people just so focused on getting around the course rather than, what the next step can actually be.
So EG uses you as a punching bag and everyone gets to learn from it.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, it is good.
Happy to take one for the team.
Yeah. How many cans of Jacks down are you guys?
Ah, fuck. I've just been awake for way too many hours.
EG, do you drink your own Jacks?
No. No, I drink CC actually. But I'm drinking water today.
Oh.
Me too.
Yeah. It's healthy.
Team Rush asked what turbo have I got and what am I getting. I currently have a 3076 Gen 2. It was on a 0.82 rehousing and I went down to a 6.7. And it felt better, but then just a lot of other shit's happened since then. And I'm going to a G25 550. Purely just so I can get good response, and I'm going to drop the car way down to 18 PSI on a stock motor rather than my stupid built motor that keeps breaking, and hopefully get a shitload more track time. And this is where you take over, EG.
Sorry, I'm almost out of internet.
That's all right. I'm almost ready for bed.
Okay.
Even though I
Sorry.
like this guy, he should be our third host.
So we can both go quiet on you.
Yeah, that's all right.
We've got to go over to WA sometime. Like I really want to go. I don't want to pay for it. That's all.
Yeah, you gotta find someone to sponsor you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there'll be. If there ends up being the national championships over there, and I've got to go over there to coach, maybe you should line up flying over at the same time, and then we'll do some shit over there.
Do some shit.
Do some shit. There's some street drinking.
Yeah.
There better be street drinking.
Well, most people come here for quackers. Do you know what quackers are?
Yeah, I rode a fucking bicycle in jeans with my 5-year-old brother or some shit at the time in one of those stupid rental bikes on Rottnest Island, and almost roasted myself to fucking death.
All right, cool. Well,
but I saw some.
Yeah, EG, that's what you need to come here for. It's
Okay.
for quackers.
All right.
Quackers and Rottnest.
But just don't do what the stupid white people from this side of the country do and go over there and kick them.
Some French dude tried to burn one.
Wow.
He lit one on fire.
People are fucking stupid.
Wait, so
somebody asked.
what are you talking about?
My car was SR20.
What's that?
What are quackers?
They're like little mammals.
Yeah. They're like little rats.
But they only live on this one island that's just off the coast of Perth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
They look like this. Where is it?
Oh, those things. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but some dickhead kicked one.
Why?
Why? Because white people are stupid.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking let's be real here. Have you looked at me?
Yeah. I've seen you. I get the picture.
Yeah, that's it. Fucking no more needs to be said.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe
Somebody said that they're soccer balls. Jesus Christ, mate, relax.
so maybe we can line a trip up over there. I don't think I could. I have no opportunity to work over there. I don't think. So, which kind of sucks, but.
Well, if you stop giving out free drift tuition, you'd make some money.
Oh, that I would have opportunity for that actually, because I'd pay and I'd go and teach people for free, so it's fine.
Well, maybe we could get like a GoFundMe so that we could line it up so EG comes over for one of your drift practices and just does a live stream where he rips on everybody.
Like the high tech one.
It's not even that.
I don't know what you're. I don't even know what you're talking about. We don't say that word here because if anybody's made it this deep into the episode, I'll be fucking impressed by some of those guys. But they'll go.
Yeah. No, I think it's just. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I don't have any time.
It's still a sensitive subject. Still a sensitive subject.
It's a waste of time.
I love the fucking internet.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything you want to plug? Anyone you want to say hello to? Probably all the Perth guys that are still listening. I think it's only the Perth guys that are listening.
Good on you, boys. There's pretty much the staff at school.
Somebody said Ken for president. That was said earlier.
Yeah, that's also another school member. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. Thank you to WTF Auto, Red Earth Creations, D-Speed, and all my other sponsors. We've got... It's getting... We've been down for a while, but there's the main ones that I'd like to thank. And thanks Dad at Team Rush. Roll Cages, Wisefab. Thank you, Wisefab. I love Wisefab. All right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody's made it this far into it, DCA entries for Cash Kings are open. DCA round 4 entries are open. Get in on that. And I think the Tassie event is this weekend or next weekend. First round of Tassie DCA. So if you're a Tassie local and you actually listen to this, well, let us know that there's actually people in Tassie listening. And yeah, get down to Simmons playing. I think it's either this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah.
And
I keep sharing it, but
I know
I'm not gonna be there. I just want to promote the event, I guess. So
24th, it's this weekend. So yeah. Sunday, get down to Simmons Plains Raceway if you're in Tasmania. And yeah. Try and get
cool.
They want a DCA round in WA. I can honestly not see that happening. What would be cool is, have you guys had cars go over up to Northern Territory for the TETA Invitational last year? I don't know if you've got any cars going up this year, but if there was some sort of one-off invitational event with some cool prizes or something that, I don't know, could be worked out, I'm sure a few people would potentially come over for a one-off event or something like that. Would definitely be cool. I'd like to get there one day. I'm just scared to tow a car the whole way across the fucking Nullarbor.
I would buy a car in Perth and sell it afterwards or keep it there or something.
Or we'll just rent. We'll just rent some pink ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you get here, then we'll talk about it.
When it gets there.
I'll see you tomorrow, Dad.
Okay, so I think that's it for this episode. We'll be.
Yeah. Sorry about the big delay. Hopefully we'll edit that out, or probably. Oh, I don't even think it's added to the stream, is it? The big delay?
No, it'll just be weird, like when we come back. When it comes back on. But yeah, if you watch the stream again, it shouldn't be there. I don't think.
Hey, AJ, check it out. You've got a car on offer from DJ.
On offer.
Yeah, you got DJ said I'd put my car in there for it. There we go.
Okay. Well, I can't see it, but yeah, okay. What car is it? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just drive it. Whatever.
You can't see it because it's a chat.
Huh?
It's just in the chat.
No,
You
no,
can't
because
see
I
a
can't.
picture
It
of it.
doesn't load. The chat doesn't load
Yeah, but
for me.
you don't know what car it is because he hasn't said it. He just says you can drive my car.
Okay. Well, no, I don't see the comments. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's all right.
that's what I meant to say. Okay. Okay, Greg.
that's okay.
All
That's
right.
okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll wrap it up for this week. I'll be back next week, same time. With a
Same place.
guest. Yep.
With a guest.
And
Yes, we will
with a
have guests.
guest. And hopefully, I don't know what I'm going to do about Insta. I'll probably just buy some more again. Pay for some more.
Oh.
Anyway, okay. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye. No problem.
It's
Thanks for
alright.
coming on.
Yeah.
Let me just stop this.
I like how he just leaves.
Yeah.
Go on.
Cool.
Night,
Bye,
Ken.
Ken.